All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well. Salutations to the Akim. Oh yeah, and the elders in Connecticut. Don't forget that. And the elders in Connecticut. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwatium, listen in silence under your husband or your spiritual leader. In meekness and silence. This your brother Ram Yahweh with the lesson, and these are one of these things that the elders have always spoke to us about Aaron Russo. So here we go.
Okay, so through these bankers attempting to taking over America, knowing that America was the freest nation in the world, it was necessary for them to take over America, take away our gun rights of freedom to bear arms, and create a country where we become slaves. Because once they take over America, the rest of the world becomes a lot easier for them. And so, by creating 9/11, an event to terrify the American people that were being attacked by terrorists, you create a world where there's an enemy that can never be pinpointed. You can never win the battle. It's 100-year war. It's a never-ending war on terrorism, right? So you're always fighting this war. And through the war on terrorism, which is the 9/11, which is the first lie, then you create the war on terrorism, which is the next lie. Then you create the war in Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, which is the next lie. And it's one lie to the next lie to the next lie. Now it's going to be Iran, the next lie, sending more troops and a surge into Iraq. It's just one thing leading to the other. And it's always in the point of taking over more countries, more dominance. Making sure the American dollar, making sure the G8 stays in control of everything. And what they want to do is to control the American people, control the people of the world, put RFID chips in everybody, so everybody's a slave to these central banks.
Did you ever talk to Nick Rockefeller after he told you all this and then 9/11 took place?
No. But he told me that you're going to see men running around caves looking for Osama bin Laden. You're going to see men looking for, these guys, and they're going to be,
He told you it was all going to be bull.
It's a phony. The whole thing is a...
Yeah, so these are the things that our elders, apostles, teachers, ministers, have spoke to us about. And we're at that time. So prepare your soul for temptation, man. All right.
The tag at the top of my skin. When I approach the device, it opens the Facebook page I set it to.
Colin Cravino has a microchip implanted in both of his hands.
Some people just look really grossed out. I put my hand up and I let them poke at it and they freak out.
Developed in the 1950s and 60s, RFID chips, short for radio frequency identification, have been used by retailers to track packages and prevent theft. Farmers use the chips to keep tabs on their livestock. Pet owners use them to identify their cats and dogs. And lately, members of the so-called body hacker movement have been implanting RFID chips under their skin, programming them to perform various tasks. Colin Cravino, a smartphone repairman in Brooklyn, New York, uses his chips to open his front door. He found them on a website called Dangerous Things that sells implant kits and offers user tips.
I came across it when I was doing research on the Samsung deadbolt that I bought. And then the first thing that I noticed was that I could get an RFID tag that would work with the deadbolt.
Cravino plans to modify one of his motorcycles next.
And I haven't decided on where I want to put the authenticator, the antenna. I'm thinking probably down by the seat somewhere because this comes off, so I would just tap my hand on it. Then the light would come on as if I put the key in, and then I would just hit the ignition and start the vehicle.
RFID retailers estimate that between 30 and 50,000 people worldwide have chip implants in their bodies. German tech consultant Andreas Sjostrom used his chip as a boarding pass on a recent flight from Stockholm to Paris, and to get into an airport VIP lounge. Skeptics say the implants raise privacy issues and worry that strangers could tap into the information on a chip without the owner's knowledge. Others say potential uses for the technology, such as keeping track of a patient with dementia, could pose ethical concerns. But Crovino and others see a future.
Yeah, so this is Psalms 55, verse 21. So, that was Aaron Russo, and the elders have spoke about him, and those are definitely compelling words and evidence, because at this point it's evident, right? So they're telling you what, lie after lie after lie lead you to destruction. So it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And heart goes into lob, which is your mind, which is mind, lob in the Hebrew. And that proves that the Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, are so-called black men, right? Starting with the Most High, right? Butter. There used to be a song back in the day called like sugar, like butter, like sugar baby, like butter honey. It's like sugar baby, it's like butter honey, right? So that's how you know that the Lord is a so-called black man. He got that style, that flavor, and a way of speaking to you and telling you that this man had this word that's smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. His words are softer than oil, right? Yet they draw swords, right? And in his mind, he's just thinking about how he could throw you in a pit, man, right? Ultimately, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly, right? Like honey baby, like sugar honey, like butter baby, like sugar honey. Yeah, you know what I mean? Talk sweet with his lips, but in his heart, which is lob, right? Mind, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit, right? In the pit, which is what? The grave, right? What they call hell, right? What is it? Sheol, right? Sheol, it's just a grave. It's a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood, right? And that's ultimately the self-proclaimed so-called white man. Like they got you to follow the so-called guidelines. Cover your face, put this on, take this. Now it's booster this, booster that, booster that, and really the thing's finna come back around, and they finna clamp down even harder, right? They're gonna clamp down even harder, right? So with all that, he's not satisfied until everybody got that digital tag, although at least those that he want, because what? Through the Georgia Guidestone, that's why all of a sudden it got blown up or hit by lightning or whatever happened, but they swept it away real fast. They didn't do a real investigation, but that somehow they're still going to so-called tie it to some type of terrorist, whether it's so-called black Hebrew Israelites, or they might just tie it to so-called radical Christians, so-called white people, right? Because at this point, everybody's really technically, every U.S. citizen is technically on the southern poverty list. You know what I'm saying? because you're gonna fall in one of those categories that they have for you, and that's basically Esau. I believe one of the brothers went into that, how I think it's in Revelation somewhere, where he categorized, right? That's one of his characters, his traits, right? And that's what they do. They categorize you, and they say they got the blue list, the red list, and if you're on the red list, you're on their hit list. If you're on the blue list, they figure maybe they can re-educate you. They don't have to kill you or whatever. But, ultimately, the an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart, mind, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit, which is the grave, man, or into a hard condition, because sometimes hell is just a condition, or the pit it could be a condition. It's a low condition, right? To be on some goddamn metaverse, that's a low condition. So you got to imagine you're someplace, but you're just in your house. You have to imagine being at Disneyland. You have to put on some virtual thing and go to Disneyland in your mind. It's crazy. You know what I mean? That's a pit, man. Yeah, so this is Psalms 28 and 3. Draw me not away with the wicked, right? And with the workers of iniquity. So Lord, don't put me in that wide path to destruction, or put me, because the wheat and the tares should be separated, and the tares is going to get thrown in the fire, and the wheat are going to go into the barn, and that barn represents the chariots. So throw me in the barn, so that I will be in the chariots, right? And don't put me with the wicked, right? With the workers of iniquity, right? Which speak peace to their neighbors, right? Because ultimately, that's what the government is doing, man. You're supposed to be their so-called neighbors, right? It's a good old American camaraderie, the patriotism, right? We're all patriots. We're neighbors. Come on down over here and step into the metaverse. Get your MOTB. That's just what it is. So they speak it, which speak peace to their neighbors, right? Your constituents, your fellow patriots, right? Fellow American citizens. But what mischief is in their hearts? Lob, which heart goes into your mind, and in their mind, it's just mischief, right?
Basically, it's nanoparticles, and they have been experimenting with it for 10 years. They wanted to put chips in the brain. They didn't want to have to do surgery, so they came up with this nano hydrogel. As soon as coronavirus hit, they were there. They said it's ready to deploy, and basically what they're going to sell the public is it will alert public health that you are sick before you have that scratchy throat, before you have that cough, before you get a temperature or anything. But it also does many other things. So once this hydrogel gets into your body, it is nanoparticles, so it assembles inside your body. It starts growing and fusing with your cells, your ligaments, your muscles, your bones. So in the old days with the RFIDs, you say, oh, it's not cool, I changed my mind. People got them cut out. this becomes one with you. You can't. But the absolute worst, scary part about it is you become one with a computer. You become your own computer interface. You become one with the quantum computer, with your devices, with your smart anything that you have in your house. And we are going to be told that unless we do all 3 steps, get tested, get the vaccination, or whichever one they choose, they're all basically the same, but they go much deeper than pathogens. And then this sensor, that we are not going to be able to get back to normal.
Yeah, so this is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, right? Avoid profane and vain babbling, right? People just saying what sounds good and it looks good and it can improve your life, and it's science. Just listen to the science, right? But then at the same time, don't listen to the science you taught us all these years, right? Now all of a sudden, vitamin D and vitamin C is not good for you, right? All of a sudden, all these things you taught us about science, that's supposed to go out the window. Now you're with the vain babbling of that. Yeah, this thing is the only thing that can make everything go away, right? This would get you back to normal. And oppositions to, and praying babbling, and oppositions of science, right? And what's opposition? Opposition is someone who's against you. Of science, falsely so called, because they're using that science because science is real. But you're supposed to use science to go against the Most High, right? Science is supposed to praise the Most High, give the Most High glory for His creation, not to try to create something to be that you're the creator, right? Which some professing, right? Some people say that they believe in God, right? A lot of these so-called Christian churches, their pastor's going to tell them, yeah, go ahead, obey thy government, right? They're going to read that Romans chapter where it says obey the authority. They're going to read that until you go get that thing, that MOTB, right? Which some professing have erred concerning the faith, man. And that ain't faith, man. That don't give the Most High praise and glory, and that's not faith. You're not walking in faith. You know what I'm saying? We walk by faith, not by sight. Things don't look good. It don't look like they got the water crisis. They got the food crisis. They just got crisis. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be helter skelter out here. It's going to be every man for himself, but not when it comes to those who walk by faith and not by sight, man. Right? Matter of fact, let's read up here, right here. 1 Timothy 6:19, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation, right? Because that's ultimately what we're doing, man. You go out there to highways and the byways, you sit down with these digital epistles, man, you're laying up good foundation, man. Against the time that's coming, man. The time to come, which really is already here, that they may lay hold on eternal life, man. The Lord's going to take care of us, man. We walk by faith and not by sight. And go back down to 21, which some professing and have erred concerning the faith, man. Grace be with thee. Amen, man. So, you know what I mean? Grace and mercy is to be with us, man. Those that walk by faith and not by sight. You can't be getting something that, matter of fact.
It up right now, guys. We're right here at Walgreens. Look at it. Wave to speak. Voice assistant coming soon. You come right here. Look at that. We believe customers can experience the benefits of a digital technology without compromising privacy. Sure. Caller screeners never seeks to identify individuals and never gathers or uses any personal leakable information. You're right. Therefore, fully preserving the privacy. Yeah, sure. Why is that scanning me right now? Why is this scanning me? Why is it blue? Nothing suspicious out. Not to mention that this is dumb as shit. We're going through an energy crisis, and they want to pretend like this is the new normal, right? It's even got microphone, right? Wave to speak, everything. All this shit, you know? And look at it, a locking system. If you don't have whatever they want, they're not gonna let you get whatever you need. They're doing it. They're fucking doing it, guys. It's real. The mark is here. It used to be a simple glass, and you could just see through. Now they got this bullshit. Look. What the fuck? And it also doesn't work right.
My name's Lewis. I'm 16 years old. I go to Dobson High School in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am a biohacker.
Every year, the world's most extreme body hackers gather at a home in the mountains beside the Mojave Desert for Grind Fest, a weekend devoted to the merging of body modification and technology. This year culminated with an electrified knife fight, but the main draw was the implantation of anything from magnets to microchips.
Yeah, so this is Leviticus 19 and 28. Ye shall not, right? Because you're so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. You see that little young Jake, 16 years old, but it also tells you that you're supposed to teach your children the laws. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get into that after this. So it says, you shall not make any cuttings, right? And that biohacking is making cuttings in your flesh for the dead, right? Because you got people who do tattoos and all these different things and commemorate someone who died, right? Which, you know, that's a heathen custom. You know, it's basically the things that Egypt did, you know. All these basically heathens, they'll do something for the dead, you know. And then you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you follow behind that. Especially like Issachar, you know, they have a thing, a Day of the Dead, and they have a big parade, and people dress up and do all these different things, and then you other tribes, your favorite holiday is Halloween, you know. So these are things that you're not supposed to be partaking in. This is why the Lord allowed the self-proclaimed so-called white man, which is really Esau, Edom, to put foots up your you know what, where the sun don't shine, you know. Neither what paint any markings, right, which dealing with tattoos, upon you. So you're not supposed to cut into your flesh. You're not supposed to put tattoos on your body upon you. I am the Lord, Yahweh, right? You're not supposed to do any of those things. So this is 14 and 1. Ye are the children, right, or sons, right? You so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian men, right? You see that young Jake, he's on there, and he just a high schooler, right? Only saying he's 16 years old, just only in high school. I mean, how they justify certain things, it's crazy, right? Because he's 16, he can get a job, everything's okay. Like, they even tell you that here, because, you know, I grew up in Arizona, you know, at 16, you could quit school because you can get a job. But at 16, with a job, a minimum wage job, you can't get an apartment because you're not even old enough to get an apartment. And even when we were, like, I remember when we had hit 18, had a job, they still wouldn't. We had to get someone to co-sign, like an adult to co-sign for us to get the apartment. So to tell a kid that he could choose whatever he wanted because he's 16, because he can get a job, doesn't make sense. So ye are children of Yahweh, right? You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You're children of Yahweh, not the rest of these heathens. But he's over there with all them goddamn heathens, right? Your power, ye shall not cut yourselves, right? You're not supposed to be doing no biohacking, cutting yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead, right? Because there were things that people were doing, shaving off their eyebrows or making lines within their eyebrows for the dead. They kind of did that back in the 80s. I think it was Big Daddy Kane did that, so people thought it was cool, but that was really the Illuminati thing for them to do something that heathenistic. They brought it in as it was being a hip hop fad, right? Was it Criss Cross did that too, right? Bringing it in as a hip hop fad, but really that actually goes back to Egypt, man. Bringing in a heathenistic custom to keep you to sin. Young Jake is young, so this what was supposed to be done, right? So that way he ain't trying to be a biohacker. This is Psalms 78:5. For he established a testimony in Jacob, right? And that's what you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and you Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel, right? That's you. You're Jacob, man, right? And appointed a law, right? And it's dealing with the laws. You're not supposed to make cutting in your flesh. That was Leviticus. That's a law. That's the laws of the Most High Yahweh, man. You're not supposed to make any cutting in your flesh, baldness upon your head, cutting around your head, cutting on your eyebrows, all these different heathenistic things, man. All right? There's a law in Israel, right? That's what our father name got changed to, Yasha'Allah, after wrestling with an angel, right? He Prince of God, or he Prince of Power, man. You're the Prince of the power of the universe, man. You're not supposed to be making all these cuttings in your flesh, right? These are the laws in Israel, which what commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children, right? And that's ultimately what should have happened to that Jake, only 16 years old. These should have been made known to him as a child, as a little child, man, right? That the generation to come might know them, right? You're supposed to know them. And it's been many generations that went by and you don't know, they don't know these things, man, right? Even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children. So you're supposed to teach your children, that they teach their children, that their children's children teach their children how to be what? An Israelite, to keep the laws of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. This is Isaiah 38:19. The living, right? The living, he shall praise thee. Talking about Yahweh, right? He that's living shall praise Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, as I do this day, right? So I'm living, says the living. So I'm living. Now my child is living. The father to the children, right? So you're alive as a father, you're alive, and you teach your children. From the father to the children shall make known thy truth, right? You're supposed to teach the law, statutes, and commandments, and the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. And that little young Jake wouldn't be talking about hey, I'm little dumb Jake, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a biohacker. Like, it's cool, man. You know? Right? Because a time like none other is coming. So you don't got time to be playing games when you're supposed to have talked to your children's, and your children's children should know the Lord, right? And this is the time that's coming in and it's very serious. So Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, he what causeth all, both small and great, right? Whether you have some you're insignificant in this world, anyone barely notice you're even alive, right? To someone that's great, that has this so-called name in the community, in the world, in politics, or whatever what have you, right? Rich and poor, right? Whether you got money, whether you don't have money, free or bond, whether you're so-called free, right? Self-proclaimed free, right? Because really you're a slave. You're not free. You're a digital slave to the digital dollar, or to the digital birth certificate that's attached to your digital number of your Social Security that's at the stock market, that's making digital money, which eventually is going to go into the off the physical dollar onto the digital dollar. And so you're really not free, but it seems like it, because you could somewhat go from this place to this place, but you can't just leave the country. You got to have a passport. You basically got to get permission to leave, right? That's like a slave document, when they had to write a thing, and master said, I can go to the store, and you had to show the other person the letter that you can go from, that you was able to travel from this place to this place. So that's the same thing, a slave document, saying you can go from here to England or wherever you're gonna go. But yeah, keep going, So free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? And the lady was speaking about that earlier, right? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, right? And you go into Daniel, you have all those beast systems. It talked about the Babylonian beast system. You had the Medo-Persian beast system. You had the Greek beast system. Then you had the Roman, which was the first leg of Roman beast system, which that's the mystery, because people think, okay, well, that empire fell, they're no longer in power, but the thing that Daniel seen was of a man, and the man has two legs, right? So we're in the second leg of Rome, which is now NATO, EU, and America, and that's that second leg of Rome, and they're ruling, and you got to have that beast system. Now this is that beast, right? The second leg of Rome, that name of the beast, and the number of his name, right? Here is wisdom. Let him that haveth understanding count the number of the beast, right? And for it is the number of man, and his number is 636, which is 666. And I believe they was saying one of those buildings, I don't know if it's where the stock market's at, that address is 666. But it's something like that. But it goes into their whole system. They got the HR 666. They got all these different things. The barcode all these other things, but now you're going to be the barcode, right? You're going to be the Internet of Things. So that's part of that. You're going to have that mark, that number. You're going to have the number of his name, which goes into their system, which is that second leg of Rome, right? So, call Lawyam Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the elders in Connecticut, the brothers who put up those prayers, who's teaching in the four winds, risking their lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, to you Akwathium, listen and learn it under your husband or your spiritual leader in meekness and in silence. Shalom and